Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Tender. We're going to do a quick update on SPY on multiple time frames. Go to around the horn on the 65 with the Qs, IWM, DIA. Really nothing has changed. Today was seemed pretty scary with the move, pretty aggressive move to the downside. But I think this is still just setting up for the exact same thing that we were talking about. So I added on to calls, took off my put protection for tonight. I think we had our move to the downside, and now I think we resume to the targets that were talked about in the last few videos. So we'll go back over those targets. On the higher time frames, I'll zip through pretty quick because I go through the same thing. Nothing has changed on the higher time frame. Okay, so if you're new here, go down to that bottom right-hand corner, hit that Options Tender logo, and subscribe. Thanks for all the support, you guys. We're doing this intraday at about 1:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to get these, consider becoming a supporter, 99 cents. You'll get these intraday. If not, no big deal. You get them after the bell at 4 p.m. All right, let's jump into it. We have SPY on the monthly time frame. We have 2000 top, 2021 top, and we're topping out now. I do believe that we'll probably get two type of topping candles, some sort of maybe tweezer top or so. Not too unsimilar from here, where the top was tested 3 times in this situation. We could do the same thing here, or 2 times. You know, it's always possible that we reverse exactly off of this reversal candle. So that will be our risk, but so many times, just like this one here, just like this top, so many times the tops, even this top here, are it's a process. Okay, so all the indices basically start aligning, they catch up, and the strong there's rotation, and so you'll see a lot of catch up plays. You'll see tech is getting a little bit weaker, and things what really overall in this process start aligning themselves to all fall at the same time. That's kind of how that goes, especially when you're at a major top. Okay, because once we get going to the downside, everything's going to be falling. There's not much that's going to hold up very well, except for things that aren't connected to the market itself. Okay, let's go down to the weekly. Weekly time frame. This is the traditional technical analysis. This is what we're checking out. We had the fake break above here, the 2000 top. I still think we retest the top up here. Maybe close some gaps. We're holding on to this 8 EMA with dear life, and I think today was just the low, the near-term low, for a few more days to weeks, and I'll show you the Qs actually made a new low, but I think that was a fake break, and I think there's still lows to come, but I think we're still going to hit our targets to the 382. Looking at, so we hit our target. If you're new here, we hit our weekly target up here at the 162. Now we're reversing off of it. We're in this zone where I think we're getting a low here for 729. I'm going to take this off for this week, and then let's move on to the daily. Just zipping through here. In the daily time frame, this is where we start to pay attention a little bit more here. I have this geometric line from these bottoms here. We're barely holding on to that. Actually poked through there and got a stick save off of that. Did not make a new low, and I still think this is a good low for SPY. Doesn't mean that we can't go lower when and if the Qs go much lower, and I'll show you that. But I do think this is a good low, and what I'm looking for at this point is a progression of higher highs and higher lows, and not in a neat fashion. This is going to be messy. We have all these cross currents that are happening. And so I think it's going to be an ending diagonal where you're looking for 3-wave moves. And this was an aggressive part of this first wave. I think the first wave is just starting, and we'll get up to a certain point where the Qs will take us back down, possibly test the trend line again, and that will conclude our first and second wave. And then we'll look for a little bit more aggressive wave 3 headed to the upside. All right, but so far holding this trend line, I really want to, these trend lines are getting very wishy-washy. They're probably not going to hold up well in this last move, so I'm not banking everything off of here, even though I made a trade off of this play here. It's more the horizontal lines that are going to play a huge aspect, and I didn't short this. I put protection because we're bullish. So we did get our rejection off of we were talking about yesterday, the confluence of this horizontal line, 2000 previous trend line, and the 8 EMA. We got the push, and now we're holding so far the lows. So and I'll show you why this low is so important when we get to the 65. Now, taking a look at the Elliott wave picture, or the Fibonacci, I know I have wave 5 here. I do actually think we eke out a new wave 5 somewhere. There's another confluence, this 150% retracement of the 2021 high to low. That was also that confluence where we rejected off of today. Now, nothing much to show here. We have 730, which is today, so perhaps this is a good low here that came in today. So we can remove that. And now our next item would be 8.5 on the daily time frame, which we have a lot of. We have a good cluster on the 65, which 8.5 and 8.6. So maybe that's a high. We'll really have to see. There's going to be a lot going on with the catalyst happening this week and FOMC tomorrow. So these highs can come in quick, and this price relationship, time relationship to price, could be setting another low. So we'll see. A lot can happen before 8.5 going into next week. But I'll show you on the 65 what I think is happening. So let's go ahead and go there. Traditional technical analysis. Holding those lows again, those connectors there, here, and close the gap there. So I can close that one. This one's still open just by a few pennies, so I just left it there. But we closed that gap here from a few days ago, and now we're reversing off of this trend line and that gap support, and I do think that's a good low. Now I'm looking for the actual breakout from this downtrend line. You can consider this a consolidation or some sort of range, and now I think we break that range, and our expected move for the week is at 552, about 553. So keep that in mind. This might be a good spot, and with that being an expected move, it really could happen going from FOMC going into Thursday. And then if we get a top from FOMC, it doesn't have to be the day of. A lot of times it happens a day or two afterwards. So let's say we get our follow through from the FOMC, then that could mark a top. And then that 8.6 time period could be where the market is negative and we make a higher low for SPY, and then I'll show you where the Qs might go. And with the setup with IWM to the upside, we'll look at is it's an ascending triangle that could be breaking out with DIA headed to the upside, and it could keep SPY from, not from going down at all, but holding it relatively stronger going into this time relationship. So this is going to be an important time relationship here out to next Tuesday and Wednesday, I believe. NVIDIA is starting to bounce. Okay, so let's go to the other page. All right, so looking kind of messy. We have a lot of time relationships and stuff in here. So again, this was the 730. We got this going on, so I'll take these out, hide these curves. They're called Fibonacci time ratios. So we got our low. Now we have 731 something happening here, and also, you know, just a cluster of things coming into 731 here, and then we have an 8-1 here. So FOMC is clearly going to be an important cluster here for time relationship. So I had this arrow heading to the upside. It looked like we wanted to get an ascending triangle here, but we broke down from it. But I still think this is going to happen. Now the time frame can be different now. Now that we got a low, a new low, not a lower low, but a new low today. Now we need some time to get, and maybe with Microsoft earnings going into Meta tomorrow, and with FOMC, maybe we get this high tomorrow. Okay, it's possible. So we're gonna look for a high, and I have this. The level is correct. 554 is going to be our target, and we specifically added that target here for a reason. I don't know how long it'll take to get there. What if this, you know, this might be all part of wave 1. So I have the 1 in here. So it could be later on. It could take a while. It could go into next Tuesday there where we're bullish. All right. So we'll adjust that as necessary. But if tomorrow the FOMC says something that's bullish, then, you know, holds whatever they say, then maybe we get a huge move going into Thursday, and then perhaps Friday we get a top here at 8-1. Maybe that might be Monday. Whole point is we get up to these levels. So now why do we have this target here? We have this target because from top to bottom, bears are going to come in at the 62% retracement. That's what this is from this entire correction, from the low here to the high here. So that's a natural spot for, and there should be a reaction off to 50% as well. But we also have another target, and that's from the low here. I think this is an A down to B. And I think that's the measurement from A to B. It's a 162. And then you have to work out a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll probably get the wave 3 reaction off of the 551, correct for wave 4, and then move up to the 554 target. So that's our target up there. We'll probably take off a lot of risk here in the 551. And after we hit that target, I do believe that our retracement for wave 2 is going to be deep, if not even a new low. It's still a possibility, but I really think that SPY is going to be relatively stronger with IWM and DIA breaking out. So I do think it's going to be deeper retracement, and probably test that same trend line again, but the trend line is going to become very flexible at this point, in my opinion. So the horizontal lines are going to be the most important. And what did we hold today? Why is this so important? We had this, we have this structure down here. This was a 1-2-1-2 structure. I don't have it fully labeled, but this I'm making as a possible wave 4, the low that we have. Now the reason is we took the low here and all the way up to the high, not the bottom, but this low. So the start of wave 3 to the finish of wave 3, and we have our 38.2% retracement, which is very typical for a wave 4. We got to that point, held on to it. It's in the green. Okay, I know there's a lot going on the screen. So we also had the, so we have that 382. We held that again today. That's where we're getting this nice reversal doji off of. So this is a good low, and perhaps we test that low again. That's how deep this retracement could come back to. Now the 100%, that's also a part of our low. That's our wave A. From the top of wave B, that's the 100% move or measurement from wave A. So if you take wave A, lay it over the top of B, you get 100% here. And so that was a good hold as well. So a good target. I'm going to take that off now just to clear this up a little bit. The retracements, these are, that's the low here. You can barely see it because I have the time relationship on it. And there's the high there. The reds are the retracements. So I do think we'll get our wave 1 over time. It could be just tomorrow. It could be really quick. Get a nice sharp wave 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to play puts in the Qs, because I think the Qs are going to be a lot more weak. And then after that, a wave 3 should be a pretty sharp move where both the Qs and SPY and the rest of the indices are going to kind of match together. And so we should get a nice lift off into wave 3. But it's still going to be a 3-wave move. It's just not going to be as defined as the wave 1. So let's go over to the Qs. And I'll show you what that should look like here. So starting to draw out a wedge here. And I think we fill out this wedge just a little bit more. We still have our measured move target from our left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So we have some unfinished business down here to the 446. And, you know, I had to think to myself today, like, are we headed down to that point directly? And we started making divergence here, positive divergence. And so, you know, this didn't seem right. This seemed like a 3-wave move here. It's not continuing lower in an aggressive way. So what I think is happening is that we have a low here. Now we had an A, B, expanded flat. And to finish off this flat process, we have a nice sharp move to the upside going into tomorrow. So I have a good feeling that Microsoft is going to be either really good on earnings, or all of tech is going to be up except for Microsoft, something like that. Or maybe they're just all up tomorrow. But we should get a 5-wave move, impulse move now to end this wave C. And so, you know, again, that will be a nice sharp move. Maybe that helps with FOMC, get us right to the target. So here's what it looks like on the Elliott wave picture. We have our A, expanded B, and we're looking for a C wave to complete this 382. Whenever you get the 23.6 retracement, it's very similar to when you retrace down to the 50%. It's always shifty. It could end there. But the low is held, even though we spiked through, the low is held, and it's very typical for this wave 4 to come back to the 382. So all I'm saying, and I'll mark this next time. Actually, I'll use these for now. So what I'm saying is, this is a 1. I'll borrow these. Wave 2. Wave 3 is here. We had expanded flat, and that should come into the 382. We don't change. We're at the top of wave 2 and down to the bottom of wave 3. We don't change it to here because the actual in the bottom of wave 3 is here. So it still remains the same price target, the 473 for wave 4. And then we should get one more move to the downside. Now that downside target should be around the 446, 447 area that we looked at on the traditional technical analysis, which I'll bring that back, which is a good support here. Now let's get a good view of why that's good support there. We have a lot of volume, a lot of trade going on here. We have a top, a lot of resistance, and then became support. I think that will act as really good support. And then we have our major trend line that hasn't been tagged since last October. I think this will be the test of that trend line. And I do believe that's where we're going to get our larger degree wave 1. And so we'll get our bounce from there into a lower high. But it's very possible that this is a deep retracement, because I do think SPY is going to make a new high, And this will be and it's not in a straight line, so it's going to be a process where we might have some sort of flat pattern here in the Qs, but ultimately I think we close the gap. I think it's going to be a large retracement, and SPY makes a brand new high. And how that will look, it should look very similar to what SPY forms going to the upside. Big dips, large moves, volatile to the upside, large moves to the downside, and such. Okay, so a breakout from here should lead us to, we'll work out those targets later on, but this will be a first initial wave 1, and then we should form either a zigzag for a wave 2, which that means this first initial move should be pretty sharp to the upside, because SPY is going to be in its wave 3, and they're going to have a sharp move as well to the upside. All right, so when we catch this next move here, it's going to be a vicious move. I'll probably play most of Indices plays because of the size of the movements. It doesn't always translate into the individual names. Okay, and then unless we see some setups, but it's a nice sharp move. And then for the wave 4 on SPY, we get that will be a B wave for Qs, which should drag it down pretty sharp if this is a zigzag, and then a final wave 5 for the SPY, but a wave C for the Qs. So that just might be a simple zigzag, 5, 3, 5 for the Qs, while SPY has a higher low and is doing a wave 3 and then 4 and then 5. Hope that's clear. That's our roadmap going into the next couple months probably. Now here's the IWM holding on to this ascending triangle. I do think the breakout's going to be this week, and I think it helps pull SPY to the upside and even hold SPY up while the Qs have a major temper tantrum coming up here pretty soon after it hits that 382 retracement. Again, good posture for the Dow. We have a nice play in Boeing. I'll probably do a video for members on Boeing coming up. We're already in the trade. We did the trade alert, but Boeing looks like it's getting ready to break out. Pretty hefty, and it does have earnings coming up here, so we have to be careful with that. VIX. On the VIX, I said we'll get a lower high. That's what we're working on right now. We had our high here, had a nice correction, which gave us a scary little thought here today, and is holding that lower high. And I think that now the VIX is going to continue lower in more of an aggressive way as a wave 3 here for the VIX here to the downside, wave 3 to the upside for SPY. So this should be pretty aggressive, and over time it should get much lower, maybe even back to the complacency area where we get new all-time highs for SPY. And that's virtually it. We were looking at SMH here, and the video was really dragging us down today. And so I have a channel on SMH, and I think it could look very similar. I'm not playing this one so aggressive because SMH could be even weaker and just have a 1, 2. I know this is a sharp one. It'd probably break out from here. Could have a larger wave 4 like the Qs, or could just simply have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe an ending diagonal or a 5-wave impulsive move to continue to the downside. We'll see how that does. Yeah, that's what I got for you guys. Hope this all helps. We are long the market and looking for new highs, and then we'll short the Qs heading up into our next target. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.